Hello, everybody. Today is 11th of February. My name is Sahil, and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS fodder. Today, we will be taking a quote from the William Ruckelshaus, who has been the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency of the USA. He had talked about the importance of the conservation of the nature and the natural resources. He says, nature provides a free lunch, but only if we control our appetite. Now, guys, this particular idea can be correlated with the Gandhiji's idea, where Gandhiji says that the world has enough for everybody's needs but not for everybody's greeds. So, greeds, guys, means the sustainable consumption, which has even been mentioned as the sustainable developmental goal under the goal number 12. Now, guys, this particular idea can be utilized into our GS paper number 3 as well as into the GS paper number 4 environmental ethics. So, guys, that is all about the GS folder, and now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now, guys, taking the news article from the first page, here we can see that now finally India and China has agreed to disengage from the Pangong Lake area. Now, guys, the confrontation into the Pangong Lake area started into the May. Now, just guys, we need to see the tentative locations so that if any map-based entry comes, you can respond onto that particular thing. First of all, guys, the questions into the UPSC, they have been asked onto the broad themes. You don't need to go into the hairline details. Now, you can see, guys, here the Pangong Lake is situated, and the Pangong Lake is the region where the Fingers region has also been situated, and the disputes onto the Fingers region was going on. So, guys, these fingers are nothing but the hill ridges onto the north side of the Pangong Lake. Now, guys, when we talk about the fingers, there have been the 8 fingers, and India was controlling the land up to the finger number 4 and had claimed region up to the finger number 8, and up to the finger number 8 it was patrolling. Now, guys, what happened recently, the China, they came up till the vicinity of the finger number 4, denied India the patrolling at finger 4 and even at the beyond, and from here the confrontation began. Then, guys, if you will see, because of this particular confrontation, even there was the problems at the Galwan Valley, which is onto the north of the Pangong So Lake, and this was exactly the place where the 20 Indian soldiers died. So, guys, just keep a kind of a mental memory that onto the southern side there is a Pangong Lake, then onto the north there is the Galwan Valley, and then, guys, into the between, that is the between the Galwan Valley and the Pangong, you can also see the hot springs region. Then on to the further north, you can see here's the Siachen Glacier. Then, guys, here's the Saksham Valley, which was also into the news. So this it's a tentative location from south to north, and earlier such kind of questions have been asked. Now, guys, what is happening now? The both India and China, they had agreed into the ninth round of core commander talks that both the countries will be disengaging from both the north as well as from the south of the Pangong Lake, and this is a kind of a major breakthrough that is coming since the border talks have been resumed into the past few months. So, guys, this is just the update into this particular capacity, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it can be utilized in our GS paper number 2 with respect to the answers related to the education as well as the social justice. Now, as the lockdown started and the schools were closed, guys, there were said that it will be impacting the education, and into this capacity, now, guys, a field study has been conducted by the Azim Premji University. Now, friends, if you are writing any answers onto the impact of the lockdown onto the education, you can quote this particular study as a source. So they had said that the lockdown has caused two type of losses. Number one, there has been the loss of the new learning because the schools were closed, and after that, even the children are forgetting the foundational abilities, which will be very much problematic into the times to come. Now, before going into this particular thing, first of all, let's understand that what do we mean by the foundational abilities. So, guys, the foundational abilities are simply the basis of the education which will facilitate the further learning. For example, guys, into the mathematics, the basic addition, basic subtraction, they are the foundational values. If you don't know the addition and subtraction, you cannot learn the further arithmetic. Similarly, into the language, for example, if we talk about the English language, the knowledge of the basic alphabets, that is the foundational knowledge. If you don't know that particular thing, you cannot learn the language, you cannot learn the mathematics. So therefore, it has been said that the foundational values have been lost, and into the languages, 92% of the foundational abilities have been lost, whereas into the mathematics, 82% of the foundational abilities have been lost. And because of this particular thing, guys, now the children will face problem. For example, they will not be able to identify the single and the two digit number. They will not be able to perform the arithmetic operations. They will not be able to read, as well as they will not be able to draw the inferences from the passages, from the basic comprehension, etc. Now this particular thing will be even more problematic because, guys, when we talk into the context of India, gross enrollment ratio has already been reached nearly 100%, but the retention rate has not been very much good. There are the huge dropout rates, and the dropouts are there because of two three reasons. Number one, the most important is that, guys, many a times the students, they lose the interest into the studies and therefore they drop out from the school, and other factors are the economical concerns and all such kind of things. Now the pandemic has brought both the problems. Number one, because the foundational abilities have been lost, they will lose the interest, and secondly, because of the economic impacts also, the parents will be favoring not to them to send to the school, or even to include them into the manual labor, child labor, etc. So these are the issues that are coming. So guys, please do include it into your notes, and please do write it with the source also. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is important for the cyber security and the threats caused by the social media. We can utilize it into the internal security related problems. Now, guys, into this particular article, a distinction has been made into the cyber attacks and into the disinformation attacks. So, first of all, when we talk about the cyber attacks, it has been the traditional problem that has been associated with the computer technologies. So, cyber attacks is simply the attack onto your computer system, onto your networks, and for the ulterior motives, such kind of information is seen, the integrity of the system is broken or tempered. And this particular attack is taken by the way of malwares, trojans, botnets, viruses, etc. However, today there is one more new type of threat which is coming, that is the disinformation attacks. Now, guys, the disinformation attacks, they are the attacks onto the cognitive being or the cognitive well-being or the thought process of an individual. What happens? The information ecosystem which is there onto the internet, it is manipulated. A kind of an infodemic is being created. You are flushed with the new information, and many a times the information is fake, manipulated, miscontextualized. And this particular thing is carried by the deep fakes or the synthetic videos, in which the people are engineered to show the things which they actually never said, or they are made to do the things which they actually never did. So, guys, deep fakes, cheap fakes, miscontextualized informations are the tools to carry the disinformation attack, and it basically hacks the cognitive thinking. Now, there are certain examples also into the recent times which has happened. For example, guys, the QAnon, they basically spread a kind of a propaganda that the 2020 elections of the USA, they were rigged, and in fact they tried to create a propaganda against the Joe Biden, and it ultimately translated onto the attack onto the Capitol. Then, guys, there was another issue, that is a propaganda that the coronavirus is being spread by the 5G towers, and due to this particular thing, the 5G towers were burned into the Europe. After that, guys, into the COVID-19 also, it was said that wearing of the masks and the social distancing is not doing any good, so therefore the social distancing norms were flouted. Even now there is a vaccine hesitancy which is coming, and this vaccine hesitancy is also in the part and parcel of the disinformation attacks that has been created. Then, guys, according to a recent study taken by the Newster International Security Council, it has been said that 48% of the cyber security professionals, they regard disinformation as a very big threat, and basically the 49% of them says that it is rather a very significant threat. And into this particular thing, guys, when we add the deep fakes, then the possibilities of the destruction that can be carried by these disinformation attacks, it can be very much disturbing. Now it has been said that traditionally the security experts, they had focused onto the cyber security, and into this particular capacity they have taken up many of the steps. For example, guys, world over, the best practices into the cyber security has been developed, where the cyber security is dealt as a first design principle. Moreover, guys, apart from these best practices, defense in depth threat modeling, secure development life cycle, red team, blue team, red team, blue team means that a self attack will be carried and the vulnerabilities will be find out, and then it will be fixed. After that, guys, there are other things also that are being done. For example, the information sharing and analysis centers are being developed, global knowledge base of a security bugs is being created, then the threat adversarial tactics, and all these particular things are being developed. So it has been said that onto the same lines, we need to now tame up the disinformation attacks also. And into this particular capacity, one specific suggestion that can be given is that, guys, we need a defense in depth strategy for the disinformation. Now, what will be happening here into the defense in depth model? The disinformation actors will be identified, the one who can spread the information, and automatically they will be removed. And further, it is provided that even if still the information comes, then the artificial intelligence, internal and external fact checking tools can be put into the social media and as well as onto the internet platforms, and automatically they will weed out the disinformation. So such is a response that is needed presently. And then it has been provided that the end of the day, we need to focus onto the education of the internet users. We need to make them aware that there are many of the vectors which are existing onto the internet. Now the viruses, malware, phishing, they are not the only tools which can bring us the security challenges. Rather, the disinformation is a new adversary. Guys, into this particular capacity, more than 1,000 entities have signed the Paris call for the trust and security into the cyberspace, for stability and security into the information space. They will be taking all the attempts that how the information credibility can be maintained. After that, guys, onto the nation level also, there are 52 countries and international bodies which have signed the Christchurch call to action to eliminate terrorist and violent extremist content online. And into this particular thing, the disinformation is being tamed. So basically, the individuals, they are needed to be made realize, they are needed to be educated that they also have a specific responsibility in order to tame the disinformation, as into the longer term it will be becoming a biggest adversary for the human existence and harmony into the society. So guys, that is all about this particular article. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and basically, it is criticizing the India's stand onto the abortion. Now, recently, what has happened into the Argentina, a legislation has been passed into which the abortion up to the 14 weeks has been legalized. Now, guys, when we talk about the abortion into the context of India, we are having the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971, which allows the women to abort a fetus up till the 20 weeks. However, into this particular capacity, even a new bill, that is the Medical Termination of a Pregnancy Bill 2020, has also been raised, which wants to extend this 20-week deadline to 24 weeks. Now it has been said into the article that both of these legislations, the existing 1971 legislation as well as the 2020 bill, they are the retrograde, they are regressive, and they are not recognizing the rights of the women onto their own body. It has been provided that, guys, into the medical termination of pregnancy in India, guys, first of all, there have been the conditions. For example, beyond 12 weeks, there is the approval of the doctor that is needed. Secondly, it has been provided that pregnancy can only be terminated when there is a grave risk to the physical or the mental health of the women, or if the pregnancy is the result of a sex crime which has occurred. So, into a way, the conditionalities have been imposed onto the women. Absolute right over their own body has not been given. And it has been said that many a times when the women approach to the courts, if the maximum time has been elapsed, or if they visit to the doctor even when the window is there, a kind of an arbitrariness is shown to the women regard, and it is a kind of an abuse over their own reproductive rights. Further, guys, it has been provided that the new 2020 bill, it is also mandating that the government will set up the medical board in every state as well as UT, and these medical boards will be taking up the matters for the abortion of the pregnancy when the pregnancy has been progressed into the later stages. It has been argued into this particular article that often there will be the personal beliefs of the members of this particular board which will be influencing the matters to abort. Guys, recently there was one particular matter happened, that is into the Madhya Pradesh. The High Court denied the permission to terminate a 26-week pregnancy to a 13-year-old girl because the psychiatrist who was onto the medical board, he said that though there will be the mental trauma, but the woman is not facing hallucination and all such kind of things, so therefore she can carry the pregnancy. And this particular ruling is, guys, entirely going against the reproductive rights of the womanhood. Moreover, into the bill, it has also been provided that if there are the fetal abnormalities, then the abortion can be carried. But guys, the personal choice has not been given any regard. So personal choice should be given a regard into the new bill that is coming. So guys, that are all the major issues into this particular respect. Guys, I have not went too much deeper into this particular legislation because just a couple of days back already we have taken up this particular matter because the non-establishment of the board was an issue into many of the states. So guys, that is all into this particular article. I hope that you have understood it all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article can be served as a reference point into some of the answers related to the GS paper number 2 under the topics with respect to the exercise of freedom of speech and expression. So many times, guys, it has been seen that the speech and expression, when they are exercised, people are either charged under the sedition under section number 124A of the IPC, or if they are involving into any protest, they are charged under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Now, what has happened, guys? Home Ministry has presented the data into the Rajya Sabha with respect to the actual convictions which had happened for the people who are charged either under the UAPA or under the defamation. So it has been provided, guys, that less than 2.2% people have actually been convicted when they were charged for the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. And this low rate of conviction, guys, points that still the enforcement agencies are using the draconian provisions of the UAPA in order to contain the people who are raising their voices against the government as well as against the government initiatives. And then, guys, specifically when we talk about the section number 124A, that is the sedition, then it can be seen that in 2019 96 persons were arrested for sedition under section 124. Guys, by mistake 194 has been written, it will be 124A. 96 people were arrested, but only 2 out of it were convicted. So this low conviction rate even into the sedition is pointing that many a times these legislations are being abused. So guys, this is just a kind of a data which you can utilize into your answers. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, here one specific article is into the news, that is the article number 121. Why this particular is into the news? First of all, I'll tell you the context. So, guys, Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra, she was making a speech into the Lok Sabha after the motion of the thanks, and there she questioned the conduct of the judiciary into the recent times. She said that the judiciary has ceased to be the holy cow. The judiciary is involving into the kind of appeasement, nepotism, and there are many charges onto the judges. So basically, she raised or questioned the conduct of the judiciary, and into that particular capacity, it has been said that she has violated the spirit of article number 121. Now, under article 121, it has been said that the conduct of the sitting judges of the Supreme Court as well as the High Court is cannot be discussed. Their conduct can only be discussed when a specific motion for that particular thing is being raised, and when the MP Mahua Moitra, she was discussing their conduct, so it was the breach of the article number 121, and for that particular thing, the breach of privilege notice has been sent to her. So guys, just please keep it into your mind that what 121 stands for. So guys, that is all about this particular article. Now guys, that is all for the today's newspaper discussion. There are not much article after this particular thing. So guys, that is all. Thank you so much.